We wrap up the day that was here at the set of Football Night in America. Rodney Harrison, Tony Dungy, and Mike Tirico. And I want to start with a point that you made earlier in the evening about the Bears. What a missed opportunity it was for them. Conservative at the worst time in overtime. What did you see from Chicago, and what do they need to learn from that?
It just really bothered me that Coach Matt Nagy, who's really an aggressive offensive mind, he scores 48 points against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, doing all these gadget plays and these trick plays, but yet you come up against the Miami Dolphins and you run the ball 3 straight times in overtime. I just thought it was too conservative. You're there to win the game. It's 100 degrees. Your defense is struggling. You have an opportunity with all the weapons that you have, Mike, to win a football game, and you come out and you run the ball 3 straight times.
I know he probably wishes he had those play calls back, but I still think this is just the learning curve for Chicago. They're still a little bit up and down. Very talented team, but not playing consistent football, winning those big road games that you need to win.
You know what we do at the end of the year? We go back and do the counting. And Chicago will be kicking themselves because the Green Bay game, the opening Sunday night, they had won to let Aaron Rodgers on a leg and a half win that game. And then this game, they had opportunities to close it. They could very well be 5-0. Those are going to hurt. Now they've compressed the division. Everybody's within a game in the NFC North.
You know, another point from that game, something we've talked about in the past, that 10-minute overtime goes so fast. And by the time the Dolphins drive down and don't score, the Bears drive down, there's fewer than 2 minutes left. And I said to Adam Gase, I talked to him after the game, I said, did you consider at all just like taking the tie and going home? He said, why would you ask me that question? It's like, there's less than 2 minutes to go and Brock Osweiler's your quarterback. That's why.
Was that a direct quote?
Yes.
From Adam?
Yeah, there may have been a curse word or two in there as well. Yeah. But I feel like that 10 minutes goes so fast that it really does create a sense of urgency that just kind of comes up on you quickly.
Yeah, I don't like our overtime rules. I think if you win the toss, you have a big advantage. They're trying to eliminate that by not letting the first score win. But you still, if you win the toss now, you have an advantage, no question.
Isn't this a good hybrid between where we were? Because those 15-minute overtimes felt so long with the players, and they've been out playing 4 quarters. And the college system, which just takes all kicking and special teams for the most part out of it, unless you're trying to field goals. At least it's more equitable than when you used to get the ball, go down, kick a field goal, and the other team standing on the sidelines never gets a chance on offense.
Yeah, and what's going to happen is somebody's going to get that opening kickoff and take the full 10 minutes and kick a game-winning field goal, and then that's when they'll decide they have to change things. The Jaguars need to change things. 40-7 loss at Dallas. How does a team that loses that badly, how do you even consider them a serious contender in the AFC, Rodney?
Well, I don't even think that's something that they're really paying attention to. I think in-house they need to clean up some things. Jalen Ramsey, he's talked a lot of trash. He's put a lot of pressure on that entire organization to come out and do certain things. I think Doug Marrone, he has to get that team back to playing good fundamental football. For the life of me, I don't understand what their concept is team-wise, Coach. They go to the AFC Championship by playing good defense and running the ball, but yet Blake Bortles, last week, he threw the ball 61 times. That's not a formula for their success.
No, they're throwing a lot more than they did last year. And these last 2 weeks has been because they've been behind. And I agree with you, that defense that played so great last year, Jalen Ramsey set the tone by doing all that talking. Okay? And sometimes talking is not the best way to win football games.
You know, Jacksonville looks good at the start of the year. And then, remember, they've had no Leonard Fournette, and the defense has given them early holes, so they've had to get away from what they normally do. All of a sudden, you look, Jacksonville, Tennessee off to good starts. Maybe they're going to be good this year. They're all 3-3. So is Houston, and Jacksonville and Houston play for the early division lead next week. It's right back to what we've come to know in that division.
And the Jaguars were so adamant about keeping Blake Bortles when they could have signed various available free agents. They could have taken Lamar Jackson with the 29th overall pick in the draft. They were all in on Bortles, and they're trying to make him, I think, into something he's not.
But I don't think he's the biggest problem. And Mike said it with Leonard Fournette being out, that kind of takes away some of their identity. But they've got to run the ball and play good defense. That's how they've got to win.
But really, when I look at them play, there's a level of complacency. You don't see them playing with the same fire, the same desire. They went to the AFC Championships, and sometime last year, sometimes when you have that level of success, you come back and think that you can just walk out.
You want to fast forward to that moment again.
And what happened to Sacksonville? Where are all the Sacksonville?
They don't have that edge. You have to have that edge, and that's why it's so difficult to repeat a Super Bowl.
Well, both of you guys have lived it on teams that sustained year after year, Colts and Patriots, and you guys were up at the top of the league. Is that hard to learn how to take every team's complete preparation and best shot for you?
You know where it starts, though? Veteran leadership. People like that setting the tone for you. Coach, you can talk about it, but those veterans have to set the tone in the locker room.
And I'm gonna put it on you. I think it starts with the coach. Once it starts with once it starts with the coach, that's a good thing. And you get veteran players that buy into what the coach is selling. Then you can go out there and just play hard and really articulate that message throughout the locker room.
And I don't want to go all negative here. The Cowboys looked good this year, better than they have all season long. The problem is they are so inconsistent. 1 week they lose, 1 week they win. They play Washington next week. Washington's under the same formula, lose one, win one. They're both due to lose next week, which can't happen. When do we believe that the Cowboys may have something that they can really build?
Well, we've got to see them go on the road and do it and win games on the road. That's what I'm waiting for.
For me, Dak Prescott, he looked less robotic when he played. He looked like Jason Garrett kind of took the training wheels off, let him play. He scrambling, he made some plays, and he just seems like he's playing a little freer.
When I had a chance to talk to Adrian Peterson after the game, I asked him about that inconsistency Washington has, and he said he's been telling the younger players, quit talking about it, because they're talking about it, and they're thinking, oh, we're due to lose next week. It's like, forget that. Be confident, and let's go out and do what we need to do.
I'm so glad you brought him up. He had 97 yards on 17 carries. That's one of the guys I've been most excited to watch the first 6 weeks of the season, because when we saw him last year, you're like, well, you know what? It's not Adrian Peterson. He's about done, physically in great shape, but we may not see him be good again. He's been so important on a team that was decimated at that position in preseason. What a cool story to see that runner come back and perform a key role on a team that right now is near the top of their division.
Yeah, Mike, but my question is this. Do you believe that he can sustain that entire...
No. I'm just happy to see him.
I think he can.
You do?
With a hurt shoulder right now, Coach, it's weeks going on week 7.
I think he can if they continue to run. And what'll happen, though, we'll see some games where he'll get 10 carries or 8 carries because I don't think they have the mentality that they can win running the football.
One thing about him, he sat on the couch until August the 20th. He knows his opportunities are limited, so he's going to do everything he can every week to be able to play because he realizes each game is getting closer and closer to when he's going to be done.
And we do realize he's always in supreme condition, even though he was on the couch, as you said, till August. He's one of those amazing specimens. Do you ever shake his hand, Mike?
I have not, which, you know, since I have full function in my hands, it proves that I never have.
All I'm saying is this, as a defensive player, no matter how strong he is, if you know that shoulder's hurting, guess what my aim point is? That shoulder.
You test
Not
it.
this little
you
shoulder.
Test it. You test the shoulder, right? That's how you say it.
No,
you test the shoulder.
Politically correct.
All right. That's it for this week. Thanks for some of your time. We'll do it again next week.
You tested it. Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.